I just stood on the city wall and shouted, "From today on, this prince is rebelling." So the doctors in the city immediately closed their clinics, choosing to abandon medicine for the military. The school teacher instantly left his students in the private school, rushing towards a military camp. Even a 99-year-old farmer put down his hoe and picked up a machete. All because I've guarded the border for over a decade, not only keeping the northern tribes beyond the city, making them unable to advance, but also turning the desolate land vibrant, so the border people can live and work in peace. But now, to please the neighboring empress, my father actually wants to have me executed on fabricated charges. Now, on the wall of Yunua city at the border, an old eunuch holds the imperial decree, his voice shrill, saying,
Princely Yunchuan has acted without restraint. His hand reversed. He uses the top of his line. Sword.
The comical, duck-like voice chilled me to the bone. I'm not afraid, just heartbroken. As a transmigrator, I've been in this world for over 20 years. Since I was 15, I've guarded the border. Because of me, the entire northern tribes couldn't set foot into dying. And now I'm to be executed. All because after I hosted the daughter of Empress Changji, she falsely accused me of assaulting her. I thought no explanation was needed. After all, it was my own father. But he's obsessed with Empress Changji like a simp, believing whatever she says. Even in just these few decades, he's already given away half of Dying's entire foundation. Now I just feel my persistence has been so laughable. The old eunuch saw me dazed, a flicker of disdain in his eyes.
Your Highness, receive the decree quickly. Blinded by lust, you committed such a disgraceful act, utterly shaming the royal family. The daughter of Changji was just visiting. Your Highness barely saw her face. Where's the assault? That's right, I'd stake my head on it too. Your Highness never acted without restraint. Back then, Yunua city had no swords. Your Highness went door to door begging the people. And only then did they bring out shovels and cleavers to defend the city.
The soldiers on the wall knelt and rose, their eyes full of pleading. 10 years passed. Yunua city was almost held up on me alone. To the soldiers and people, I am this land's deity. But the old eunuch just snorted coldly at this.
I'm only here to announce the decree. Your merits are none of my concern. His Majesty has another message for you generals. Whoever pleads for him will share his crime. Stand up now, and I'll pretend I didn't see.
But after hearing the eunuch, the generals remained kneeling on the ground. The old eunuch, seeing the silence, shrieked in his shrill voice.
Are you trying to rebel?
Then I suddenly spoke in a low voice, "All of you rise." At that moment, the system's choice popped up. Option 1, defy the decree. Reward, devour heaven and earth. Option 2, obey the decree. Reward, indestructible body. That's right. As a transmigrator, I have my own cheat. My cheat is to provide 2 choices at critical moments. For me to decide. After choosing, I get the corresponding reward. I looked at the options before me and sneered coldly. My gaze turned to the old eunuch. I, the crown prince, joined Yunua at 15. These are all brothers who have lived and died with me. How can we easily kneel to a castrate? Hearing this, the old eunuch pointed at me, his face flushed red.
Calling a eunuch a castrate to his face is simply too much.
This is his intent. My expression remained unchanged. You only see Yunua's iron cavalry as the best in their heaven. But you don't know that in Yunua, 9 out of 10 families have lost their sons. You only know the northern barbarians dare not approach the city. But you don't know the city is built with flesh and blood. Today, I, the crown prince, rebel. As the words fell, the old eunuch's face turned deathly pale. On the city wall, the general's eyes suddenly turned fierce.
Your Highness has finally said it.
The old eunuch stared at me in disbelief.
Rebel? How dare you? How dare you utter such treasonous words? You must know, this continent has 7 great empires. Each country has profound foundations. With such foundations, rebellion is a death sentence. And now you speak of rebellion? You're seeking death.
Have you all gone mad with him?
I stopped wanting to be this general long ago.
Ha ha ha. I should have died 10 years ago.
This life has long belonged to your Highness.
Suddenly, the old eunuch approached and shouted, "6th rank Grandmaster, your Highness, be careful." His figure instantly became a blur. At this moment, a smug smile appeared on the old eunuch's lips. However, just as the old eunuch was about to touch me, it was as if he saw something terrifying, and his body jerked back violently. With my back to him, I spoke softly. To be able to sense danger shows some skill. My expression remained calm. The old eunuch was full of shock and doubt. For a moment, he seemed to see a blade, intent on slaughtering all living things. But I'm just a mortal. Before he reacted, my whole vision suddenly soared to third rank.
Damn it! His Majesty will not spare you.
I severed all the Regents and Lips, the generals on the city wall, who were originally prepared to fight to the death, were now all dumbfounded. Holy crap, your Highness reached the 3rd rank in 2 steps. 3 steps to slay a Grandmaster. Seeing the situation, all the soldiers present knelt down and shouted in unison, "We are ready to follow your Highness through fire and water." I said calmly, "Let's set this matter aside for now. First, take good care of this eunuch. Don't let him die easily."
You will all die.
When His Majesty finds out, he will send a great army to crush you.
Meanwhile, on the city wall, an old man wiped the cold sweat from his brow. What a terrifying young man. He intended to save me, because he has seen all I've done these years. But I instantly stepped into the Grandmaster realm. It's simply unbelievable. At the same time, my words on the city wall spread through Yunua like wildfire. Upon learning the reason, all the citizens were outraged. Many veterans dug out their dusty long blades and rushed to the barracks. It's time for those pampered people in the capital to witness our Yunua iron cavalry. Just then, a burly man excitedly reported, "Your Highness, great news. 100,000 troops from the northern border are invading and will be at our gates in 2 days. This is a perfect opportunity. If we withdraw from Yunua city and let the Baiyue army march in unopposed, Dying will be severely weakened. We can then wait for our chance." These barbarians came at just the right time. The world only knows the Yunua iron cavalry is unmatched. Who remembers the devastation of the Baiyue 10 years ago? The starving filled the fields. 9 out of 10 houses were empty. I gave solemnly into this. At that very moment, the system presented an irresistible choice. In my view, from the moment I decided to rebel, this will only belong to me. No one can take what is mine. I must stop this immediately. Follow your king to battle. This Yunua was forged by the Yunua iron cavalry. Any who dare invade shall be killed without mercy. By now, the city gate was crowded. Suddenly, someone shouted,
"Look! It's His Highness! Your Highness, do not worry about us. What hardship haven't we Yunua people endured? Please, Your Highness, open the gates.
Every Yunua person can fight. Do you all remember when I first came to Yunua? What was it like then? We didn't even have city walls. You lost your elder brothers. You lost your fathers. Some even lost their children. Yunua is not just mine. It is yours. With me here, Yunua City will never fall. Hearing my words, the people's eyes filled with fervent hope, chanting in unison, "Long live the prince." Meanwhile, in the northern border of Baiyue camp, a general was drinking and said, "With a full 200,000 troops, let's see how the Yunua people resist." General, bad news. Our army is ambushed. It's the Yunua Iron Cavalry. General Yunua stood up abruptly, his face horrified. The intelligence he received was that I was surely dead. On the other side, Baiyue warned me, "Your Highness, the Baiyue vanguard is just ahead. We can set an ambush here." No need. They're already here.
Your Highness remains this confident, even deep in enemy territory?
His Majesty is aware of your situation, Prince. If you surrender to Bai Ming, His Majesty offers you his daughter's hand in marriage.
Hearing this, my expression darkened.
Come on, big brother.
I took a sharp breath and said, "Compared to that, I'd rather know who gave you the information."
My prince, the weapons in their hands, they're Yunua blades.
Yunua blades are controlled military arms. Apart from a badge once procured by the imperial court, they've never circulated. My father, the emperor, truly is spendthrift.
Indeed, Yunua blades. It said they're the finest under heaven. Today, watch how the Baiyue army breaks your Yunua cavalry. Long have I heard of the Yunua blade's might. Who will test me?
I glanced at the system interface before me and sneered. Baiyue Haskins, reward family. Who? Intercept Baiyue, reward family. No need to think twice. Naturally, I choose the second option. Before I came, I often heard the Yunua cavalry were the world's best. How is it you don't have a single decent commander? Just then, the Zhao family general, the system's ward, arrived for me.
Zhao, who pays his respects to Your Highness. How dare he insult Your Highness? Allow this general to cut him down from his horse.
And thus, a great battle erupted.
Dylan, where do you think you're fleeing?
Everyone showed shock. The Grand Master Elder in the air erupted in fury. He was supposed to guard the eldest son. He never expected the young master to be killed in an instant. For killing one of mine, I will slaughter one of your cities.
Prince of Yunua, cease your arrogance. Today, they die. And you die too.
You've seen the Yunua blade in the cavalry's hands. But have you ever seen the Yunua blade in my hand?
Arrogant.
7 limits, sea breaker. Suddenly, the sky darkened. The sound of crashing waves surged forth, sword intent raging wildly in an instant. The elder, who moments ago was awe-inspiring, instantly turned into a blood mist. Dead beyond dead. Everyone knows I can't practice martial arts. Yet I slew a 5th rank grandmaster. That requires at least 5th rank, or even 4th rank ability. And I locked gulped, his gaze turning peculiar.
You've hidden your skills so deeply.
Do you know the origin of the first batch of Yunua blades? Back then, forging the blades exhausted all available metal. How people ate their own pots, stoves, and knives. Yunua had no cooking utensils left. Precisely because they staked everything, the blades forged reached perfection. Hence, Yunua blades are #1 in the world. Though I admire your resolve from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely cannot tell you who exactly gave us this batch of fine steel war blades. You don't need to say it. I actually already know. Yunua blades are never the outside levy. My father, the emperor, truly went that far. Since you've already guessed the truth, then I hope you're still alive the next time we meet. Do you really think you can leave today? In the next moment, Neela's eyes suddenly filled with horror. A thin line of blood instantly appeared on his throat. His eyes were filled with unbelievable confusion. Although he was often defeated before, I always let him go back. Because I knew that if I killed too many of their people, the entire Northern Frontier's Baiyue army would surely swarm out. But this time, I actually dared to kill him. And after casually slaying Neela, I shouted sternly, "All Baiyue captives, bury them alive. Follow me, your king, into the Northern Frontier to slaughter the city." Just as the Yunua Iron Cavalry and the Golden Fire Cavalry boldly broke into the Northern Frontier, the news of the military coup in Yunua City finally spread across the 7 kingdoms. The Dynasty threw us. Emperor Jing angrily smashed the base in the Imperial and
Bastard. How dare this beast commit such a heinous act?
The dying dynasty has lasted for 1,000 years. The last rebellion seems to have been 300 years ago. Agitations, hemorrhaging, the tyrannical and foolish ruler. His evil reputation was everywhere. People even exchanged children, yet no one dared to rebel. Because everyone knew rebellion was a path to certain death. It's always better to live miserably than die well. And hemorrhaging looked at the simple ministers and shouted angrily.
Doesn't this unfilial son imply that I'm very incompetent?
Tell me, am I incompetent?
Your Majesty is wise and mighty. Ministers echoed in unison. Compared to you, the Prince of Yunua is but a candle flame to the bright moon. That's right, Your Majesty. The Prince of Yunshua's cruelty is known to all. He only of stopping children's sacrifice. Your Majesty also knew long ago that he harbored disloyal intentions, which is why he was exiled to Yunua City. The urgent matter now is to deal with the current situation. Reporting to Your Majesty. Status report.
The Northern Frontier Baiyue attacked. The Prince of Yunua led the Yunua Iron Cavalry on an expedition. Buried 80,000 enemy troops alive.
And slaughtered an entire city. A collective gasp filled the hall. Burying 80,000 alive, slaughtering a city. They might even press further into the Northern Frontier. Emperor Jing's eyes surged with hatred. He issued the decree, betrothed the 3rd princess to the heir of the Marquee of Jinbei, burying capital immediately. For the Marquee of Jinbei, dispatch troops to Yunua at once. Ensure the rebellious son is buried at the frontier. Once Yunua City is taken, that rebellious son, having lost his stronghold, will naturally collapse without a fight. An old minister showed a pained expression. Your Majesty is wise, but Your Majesty, if the Prince of Yunua truly dies in battle, what about Yunua City and the tens of thousands of people behind it? Emperor Jing, however, was completely indifferent. 10 years ago, he already wanted to abandon Yunua City. He believed the Baiyue foundation was never sinful to begin with. At most, they'll just plunder and kill a bit before leaving on their own. It's truly inconsequential. The Raging Dynasty has stood for 1,000 years. A small border town like this is a minor matter.
By the way, give the remaining 3,000 Yunua sabers to Changji. I heard from her message that she likes these sabers. Also, fetch a grade 6 mirror-breaking pill from the treasury and send it along. As an apology for me.
When mentioning Changji, a rare trace of tenderness actually appeared on the Jing Emperor's face. Countless ministers below immediately twitched at the corners of their mouths.
Yunua sabers are the finest under heaven, practically a national strategic resource. And they're just given away so easily? And that grade 6 mirror-breaking pill?
If taken by a peak 7th grade expert, it almost guarantees entry into the Grandmaster realm. The ministers want to speak up and advise against it. But the next moment, seeing the Jing Emperor's loving gaze, they all fell silent. Many had tried to advise the Emperor before, then they all retired to their hometowns or got caught up in some mysterious incident. But today, His Majesty is unusually clear-headed for once. If Yunua City is truly taken, no matter how skilled I am in warfare, I'd be like a rootless duckweed, doomed to fail. At this moment, news of the Prince of Yunua was practically placed on the desks of all major powers. Everyone was buzzing. This Prince of Yunua must have truly lost his mind.
Not necessarily. If he can seize a northern city, he might survive. You think the king of Baiyue is a pushover? Just watch.
Baiyue will likely soon press the attack with a massive army. The Prince of Yunua will have to slink back in disgrace. The strength of one city compared to that whole kingdom. Some scoffed, others admired. But in the end, everyone was waiting to see me make a fool of myself. By now, Baiyue territory was already swarming with spies from various states. After all, this drama from Great Jing is top-tier entertainment in the Seven Kingdoms. Some wanted to fish in troubled waters for profit. Others were purely here for the show. The spies got together, compared notes, and reached a conclusion. This is basically a dead end. At this moment, Yunua City became the focus of the world. The entire city turned into a sea of fire. Its once impregnable walls were reduced to rubble. Witnessing the scene sent chills down everyone's spine. Even though they knew my methods were ruthless, seeing it firsthand was still shocking. I'm just an ordinary person, yet my methods are this brutal. To the common people of Yunua, I might be a god, their pillar of support. But to others, I am a devil. I admit the generals listened with reverence. But I was staring at the king of Baiyue's declaration of war. The system then presented a choice. Choose option 1. Face the 300,000 strong army head on. Reward: the Shadow Ink assassin from a century ago. Temporarily withdraw and plan a later strategy. At home in outsource all technique. Shadow Ink was once an assassin organization that terrorized the Seven Kingdoms. Its leader's swordsmanship was divine, said to be invincible below the Grandmaster level. Though the organization fell, its value rivals the Zhao family's army. The heavenly tome of 10,000 swords possesses earth-shattering power, capable of toppling cities. Even in this world, it's a top-tier technique. Yunua excitedly advised, "My prince, you must not confront the king of Baiyue directly. Better to retreat and let Baiyue and Dine fight each other." The generals in the tent all showed looks of sudden understanding. Their gazes towards me held even more admiration. They thought I couldn't bear to see the people suffer. That's why I chose to face the enemy, not knowing my plan was this far-sighted. If we retreat now, the 300,000 barbarian army will press Dine, enough to cripple them. And they realized I was thinking 5 steps ahead. But I smiled then. Since we must fight, why fear the fight? The heavenly tome is strong, but the 7 limits is no less formidable. What I lack isn't the moves, but perfecting them to their ultimate form. Besides, I cannot tolerate a blade forged from Yunshua's blood staining Yunshua's people. That's a desecration. Those who offend Yunshua will pay tenfold. That's my rule. After destroying Baiyue, we'll settle scores with Dine and Changji. I immediately ordered the entire army to prepare to dig pits. My eyes now sharp, the news instantly spread everywhere. Scouts marveled. The Prince of Yunshua's audacity is insane.
The iceberg of the southern border, the madman of Yunua. They were wrong. I'm extracting rocks, really overestimating himself. I really want to see this Prince of Yunua. I'll face 300,000 with just 50,000.
After hearing Scout's war, King of Baiyue's first word, overestimating himself. Not overestimation. How many wars have the 7 kingdoms fought over millennia? Among them were legendary generals whose fame echoes through the ages. There are even legends of grandmasters serving as generals. Those are upper, 3rd-rank grandmasters. A master can cut through thousands of troops. But a grandmaster is different. A flick of their finger can stir celestial phenomena, like a human-shaped disaster. Saying one can fight an army is a bit exaggerated, but they're no longer mortal. Yet, even troops led by a grandmaster would never dare to confront 300,000 with less than 50,000. If he can do it, he's no man. He's a living god. In the dying palace, the displeased Jing Emperor actually started drinking. He originally wanted to kill me himself. Now it's convenient. Too bad I can't pledge loyalty to Changji. At this thought, Emperor Jing's face fell immediately. His son actually dared to harass Changji's daughter. Who knows how Changji will see this? As for whether I was framed, Emperor Jing didn't doubt it for a second. Changji is such a saintly person. Her daughter must be just as virtuous. If she says I did something beastly, then I must have.
Someone, bring the current Changji intended from the treasury, and send it to Changji at once. I hear it's incredibly useful for a grandmaster's cultivation. Changji will surely love it. Oh, and tear down all of that traitor's old mansions. Seeing his things just makes my blood boil now.
Meanwhile, in White Tiger City, the largest city on the Baiyue border, the Baiyue king exclaimed,
"This Yunshua kid has guts. Even as enemies. I can't help but admire his spirit. My king, how shall we deal with a Yunshua kid tomorrow?" Yeah. I heard besides the Yunshua Iron Cavalry, he has a red armor cavalry too. And they're tough as well. What's to fear? We have 300,000 troops. Even if a grandmaster shows up, we'll cut him down all the same.
The other Baiyue generals nodded vigorously. He used tactics when strength is close. When the gap is this huge, what's the point of scheming? Just bulldoze through them, that's it. A general said viciously.
Once we kill that little Yunshua prince, our army will charge right in. Lu Yinchuan slaughtered 10 cities. I'll slaughter 20.
Too bad. You won't live to see tomorrow. In an instant, a dozen generals in the council hall froze in place. The Baiyue king's heart skipped a beat. Having lived for decades, he'd seen it all. But damn, this scene right now was a first. The Yunshua king was standing right at the entrance of the council hall. Are the soldiers dead or blind? But this doubt was quickly overshadowed by a bigger one. I swaggered into his camp. The Baiyue king stared at me, his brain short-circuiting. The tent erupted in chaos. Yunshua brat, you dare come here? Talk about finding what you seek without even trying. You're dead today. Dozens of auras at the peak of Xiantian's stage erupted. Terrifying life force filled the area. Even the air's temperature seemed to rise several degrees in that moment. The rage was because they saw me. For a full 10 years, I personally slaughtered countless Baiyue soldiers. This time I massacred 10 cities in one go. In the eyes of the Baiyue, I am the living king of hell. Their most hated scourge. They're smiling now because they think they can finally kill me. As for accidents, I never considered them. This is the stronghold of the Baiyue army, after all. If I dared to barge in and still survive, that would truly be seeing a ghost. The king of Baiyue stared at me intently, but didn't rush to act. Did you come here to die, or are you just tired of living? I looked at him and spoke coldly. A decade of war should have a conclusion. So today, I'm here to send you all anyway. The entire hall fell silent. In a blink of an eye, the entire tent was so quiet you could hear heartbeat. Suddenly, a fierce general stepped forward. His innate chi and blood surged out from his body. I thought the king of Yunua, even if he couldn't fight, was at least a formidable figure. But I never expected him to be such a reckless fool. Send us on our way. With just you, a mere mortal, I'll get you down first. The king of Baiyue watched him, but didn't stop him. No matter how strange things are, it's always wise to let a subordinate test the waters first. That guy's chi and blood exploded violently. I watched him. I must admit, these Baiyue folks do have some skill. They can casually produce several fifth-rank innate experts. Back in Yunua, they'd be treated like ancestors. Cracks even appeared in the sand on the ground. He didn't charge directly. Instead, he walked slowly towards me. Just you wait, kid. I'll crush every bone in your body. Before he could finish, he suddenly froze, looking utterly bewildered. Many white feathers suddenly drifted down in the council hall. The general who had charged at me instinctively stopped. Feathers? Where do these feathers come from inside this tent? The king of Baiyue behind him suddenly shouted, Bada, be careful. Why should he be careful? Careful of this unarmed guy. Why is my neck feeling warm? It's blood. His vision went dark, and he fainted. Deathly silence filled the council hall. The feathers from before suddenly flew up like knives. They transformed into sharp blades. Several of the less skilled barbarian generals were instantly slashed and covered in blood. The king of Baiyue roared, Everyone get behind me. The air suddenly exploded. Those feather-like knives were all blasted away in an instant. At that moment, the king of Baiyue and his men stared fixedly at me, or rather, at the white-clad youth in front of me. His aura was ethereal, and he looked very aloof. Of course, what was most striking was the imposing presence he exuded. The king of Baiyue gritted his teeth and said, Third-rank peak, and a top-notch assassin. He's been hiding here all along. Not a single one of us noticed. If he had wanted to act, no one below the Grandmaster level would have survived. At the same time, the king of Baiyue looked towards me, turned strange. The king of Yunua really has some tricks up his sleeve. Even at a time like this. You're still not calling your troops outside? I sneered. Don't need to call them. The king of Baiyue curled his lip. You're way too arrogant. Assassins are only useful when they ambush from the shadows. We have over a dozen experts here. This guy is good, but he's just one person. Suddenly, a soft, mocking laugh rang out. Hee, Qingwan, they're looking down on you. Only then did everyone notice that several people had appeared beside me at some point. An odd-looking young man with white hair, a stunningly beautiful young woman, and two men with rather unfortunate faces. Qingwan was the assassin's code name drawn earlier. Qingwan's lightning skills are peerless in the world. He can't walk on air, but he's faster than almost anyone alive, including Qingwan. There were 5 of them. Their auras grew stronger one after another. None were much weaker than Qingwan. At that moment, the Baiyue forces cursed in their minds. What the hell? They said Yunua had no masters? This is no masters? With a lineup like this, forget a small border town. They could easily take down a medium-sized city. Qingwan ignored the girl, just staring coldly at the Baiyue general. Qingwan glanced at the Baiyue general, a look of disdain on his face. Come and try if you dare. The Baiyue king looked at me and sighed. You're more ruthless than I thought. A pity Yunshua's grandmaster isn't here. The Baiyue king turned and shouted back. Grandmaster Tu Ming, it's time for you to act. A deep voice sounded. Should have done this from the start. Suddenly, a fierce gale swept through. At that moment, even Qingwan's calm expression changed. Tu Ming snorted. What does a brat like you know? Anyone below the Grandmaster realm is an ant. You're no different. He opened his palm wide, instantly forming a cage of vital energy. Qingwan immediately felt his entire body locked down by the energy. Countless streams of vital energy sealed him firmly in place. Behind him, the white-haired man with codename Moin, who kept his eyes closed, suddenly snapped them open. You dare bully someone under my Mo Ying's protection? His long sword left its sheath. Time itself seemed to freeze. Many of the Baiyue people only saw a sword, fierce as a savage beast, flash from its scabbard. Killer Moin. This was both an organization and a person. To name an assassin guild after oneself naturally spoke of immense power. The next instant, he appeared before Qingwan. The clang of metal on metal rang out in a split second. 2 figures shot backward. The Baiyue king's previously composed expression finally cracked. Tu Ming placed a slightly numb hand behind his back, remarking with some admiration. Not bad. What's the name of that sword? He had seen too many young geniuses. This Moin was undoubtedly the strongest young genius he had ever encountered. He chose to become Grandmaster. Moin looked at the old man and said seriously, killing you wouldn't be hard. The next moment, the old man's face darkened as he angrily rebuked. Arrogant. In an instant, the two sides clashed. One possessed fearless physical prowess, the other swordsmanship unrivaled in the world. The wall shattered instantly. The commotion here had already been noticed by the Baiyue soldiers outside. In mere moments, the entire area outside the council hall was densely packed with Baiyue soldiers. Only then did the king of Baiyue let out a slight sigh of relief. In fact, the moment Moin revealed his true strength earlier, the king of Baiyue felt a pang of panic. It was something beyond his expectations. Or perhaps, no one in the entire world could have known that I had hidden my strength so deeply. The other generals also breathed a sigh of relief. Only at this moment could the king of Baiyue calmly utter these words. You've lost. Looking at the king of Baiyue, I smiled and asked, how so? The king of Baiyue said with confidence, you exceeded this king's expectations. 4 peaked innate realm assassins and a young grandmaster. If they were hiding in the shadows, they could have caused this king significant trouble. In truth, this king had already guessed you would come to assassinate me. 50,000 troops against 300,000. Even a god of war reborn couldn't possibly achieve victory. Naturally, I wouldn't do something so foolish. The only way to turn the tide of battle was to come and assassinate you all. This king didn't expect you to have 4 peak innate realm assassins, not to mention a young grandmaster as your subordinate. I even more didn't expect you to dare come to this king's city. Pity. At this point, the king of Baiyue paused. Pity my army was well prepared. I said, the king of Baiyue's face grew increasingly smug. After all, having dealt with me for a full 10 years, without deploying overwhelming force, he had never won a single time. The feeling of being intellectually outmatched was unpleasant. Now he had won. Hearing this, I just smiled. You barbarians have a saying. This king can make countless mistakes, but you can only make one. The king of Baiyue instinctively turned to look at me, as if he had misheard. What? This is already a dead end. How can you possibly turn it around? I looked up at the broken roof. A ray of morning sun shone down, casting a holy light upon me. This king said, coming here was to send you on your final journey, to bury you along with the city. The timing is perfect now. What? At this moment, countless Baiyue people thought I must be insane. The situation was clearly decided, yet I still dared to speak so arrogantly. I said softly, the sun is high. It's time to enter the city. The sunlight poured down. It brought a touch of warmth to the entire White Tiger city. But the Baiyue king suddenly shivered at that moment. Sunlight enters the city at noon. Why does that sound so familiar? Yet he just couldn't recall. The Baiyue king quickly shook his head, forcing down the unease in his heart, no matter what arrangements I've made. This is White Tiger City, not my Yunua city. 300,000 troops are camped right here. The Baiyue king was confident. Even if a grandmaster came, he could make them stay. Suddenly, someone screamed, "No, poison. I can't breathe. Help!" Soldiers fell like dominoes, one after another. In just these moments, all those who had fiercely surrounded me lay fallen. Then the Baiyue king glared at me, his whole being like a lion ready to devour its prey. You used poison? How is that possible? After all, once the army entered the city, all water and food were tested by specialists. Only after confirming it was safe to give the soldiers. There's absolutely no way it could have gone wrong. The key is the entire city's soldiers. How much poison would it take for 300,000 men? At least, among the poisons the Baiyue king knew. Even the world's deadliest toxin, diluted in food for 300,000, would be utterly useless. But now, as far as the eye could see, all Baiyue soldiers were convulsing on the ground. I looked at the Baiyue king and said slowly, "Have you heard of Red Serpent?" The Baiyue king's eyes widened as if he'd seen a ghost. I continued slowly. I heard a century ago, there was a mysterious assassin organization. They had a sinister poison called sunlight enters the city at noon. Just one drop in the water, even a tiny bit, evaporates upon seeing the sun. The stronger the sun, the more potent the poison. Though the rumor in the Seven Kingdoms is that Moying offended a grandmaster and was wiped out. I believe it was precisely because of Red Serpent that Moying was exterminated. The Baiyue king stared at me as if I were a monster. You dare shelter Moying remnants? What kind of man am I to dare such a suicidal act? Darkstar and Red Serpent may seem powerful, but back when Moying was destroyed, not one of the Seven Kingdoms dared shelter them, because whoever did, the other six would surely unite to crush them. In other words, sheltering Moying or hiding Red Serpent means defying the entire world. How dare you? Madman, you're truly mad. Aren't you afraid of being hunted by the whole world? I then said, kill them all. In the blink of an eye, the 4 assassins shot out like arrows. For Moying, they were already wiped out. It was because of me they were reborn. I am their heaven. I said coldly, looking at the Baiyue king. You lost. The king of Baiyue shook his head. I haven't lost yet. And the second king of Baiyue shook his eyes blazing red. Most of today's events were unexpected, but he hasn't lost yet. In the end, no matter how strong my subordinates are, I'm just a mortal. If he can hold off those 4 assassins and then kill me, he wins. Strange. Why aren't those 4 assassins attacking him? The thought had just flashed through the king of Baiyue's mind, when a sharp pain stabbed his eyes. The blade was drawn, and blood sprayed. The king of Baiyue stared wide-eyed. Even now, he still couldn't believe he had been defeated. Utterly and completely defeated. The king of Baiyue stared at me blankly and said in despair, "You can hide your true strength this easily? I thought those Moying assassins. Their cultivation was already incredibly strong, even approaching the Grandmaster realm. But now I know the most terrifying monster is you. He, a peak 5th grade expert, couldn't even withstand a single move from my blade. He lost, and lost with complete seconds. The king of Baiyue spoke with difficulty. Can you let my men go back? That last slash had already severed all his life force. Only by relying on his powerful vital energy, he barely clinging to life. I looked at this king of Baiyue, my old rival for a decade. To be honest, a few years ago, he wouldn't have even given me a second glance. But now he lies at my feet. The feeling is quite poignant. After all these years of war, how could the king of Baiyue be so naive? He had already guessed the outcome before he even asked. But hearing it still made him somewhat sad. If you shelter Moying, you'll eventually be deceived by the entire world. Let go, and I, the king, will leave with life working for you. The potency of the red snake poison. The king of Baiyue saw it clearly. With this thing, one person can breach a city. Not even a grandmaster has this ability. Once this poison appears in the world, grandmasters will act immediately. Exposure means certain death. The king of Baiyue continued, release the 300,000 troops. Preserve Baiyue's vitality. Let Baiyue help you once. This deal is a sure win. Just then, the white-haired youth landed lightly. The blood still dripped from the giant sword that resembled a ferocious beast. Defeated. Even Slaughter Line's master was defeated. The king of Baiyue let out a long sigh and looked at me. I couldn't help but sneer. I, the king, never seek trouble. If anyone dares to cause trouble, I'll kill every single one who comes. 100,000, I'll slaughter 100,000. The whole world opposes me. Then I, the king, will slaughter this world. Actually, I've always been quite merciful. In Yunua territory, every household worships my longevity tablet. In fact, the first time anyone sees me, they think I'm a weak scholar. Let anyone dare to touch what I care about, and I'll make them regret being born. Yunua isn't afraid of war, and even less afraid of death. Xiaohu, who had just entered the city, said with a smile, "Congratulations, Your Highness, for eliminating a great threat. Keep Baiyue for 3 years. Bury the king of Baiyue properly. 3 years is more than enough for me to settle matters in dying, and even across the 7 kingdoms." Suddenly, a panicked subordinate rushed in to report, "Your Highness, disaster has struck. Marquee Jingbei is leading 80,000 troops towards Yunua city." What? A ferocious aura erupted from my body. My home's attack blows away. My father, the emperor, is truly a benevolent ruler. Damn it, isn't he afraid Yunua won't hold? Does he want dying to become Baiyue's backyard? The one who wishes for my death the most is my own father. I thought even if he hated me, he'd at least care for the country. Seems I was too naive. I roared, "Xiaohu, stay. Yunua Iron Cavalry. Follow me back to Yunua." As my rage peaked, the Yunua Iron Cavalry and the Xiao army charged in. The situation in White Tiger City was witnessed by spies from all kingdoms. In an instant, the 7 kingdoms were in an uproar. Did I just see Yunua's army enter White Tiger City? Tens of thousands just marched in. How is that possible? No way, no way. You all actually think the Prince of Yunua won? Huh, you're all too naive. In my opinion, the Prince of Yunua has most likely defected to Baiyue. What? That can't be right. But what other explanation is there? Exactly. 50,000 against 300,000? If he won, that would be the biggest joke ever. But what if he really did it? The spies who were just chatting suddenly fell completely silent. One of them muttered to himself, "If he pulled that off, he'd be a living god." But aside from that, what else could it be? Another possibility, no one dared voice. Inside the dying imperial house, Emperor Jing was furious. Afraid of him? Damn it. He thinks defecting to Baiyue scares me? I'll have him killed. That traitorous son, order Marquee Jingbei to take Yunua. I'll make him watch as everyone he protects dies. The eunuch quickly bowed and replied respectfully, "Your Majesty, there's news from the spies in White Tiger City." What? The next moment, Emperor Jing looked at the latest battle report, his hands trembling uncontrollably. His eyes widened in shock. Outside Yunua City, the head of the king of Baiyue hung high above White Tiger City. White Tiger City was ablaze. No one from Baiyue and White Tiger survived. The kingdoms were all theorizing how I did it. Inside the dying imperial palace, after a brief moment of stunned silence, came uproarious laughter. "Ha! Imperial kitchen, prepare fine wine and delicacies for me. All right, send another imperial decree to Yunua. If Marquee Jingbei succeeds, act as if this decree never existed. If he loses, show this decree to that traitor son." Emperor Jing stroked his chin and said slowly, 50,000 against 300,000, and he won. He must have used tricks, of course. But if it could be used for dying, maybe Changji will think highly of him. Thinking of this, Jing Emperor couldn't help but chuckle. As for whether I'd refuse the offer, he never considered it. He's the emperor, and he gave me a chance to live. What more could I want? After all, the imperial capital holds the royal family's foundation. In the entirety of Jing, rebels die. By now, Marquee Jingbei of the Jing has led 80,000 troops, blocking outside Yunua City. It's obvious. It must be that old fool Jing Emperor's doing. He might even know my trump card. Worst of all, this time I was caught off guard. Might take a huge fall. After all, Marquee Jingbei is no pushover. A genuine 4th-rank grandmaster, called the nation's pillar. Though only 80,000 men, his reputation matches mine. Saying we're equals flatters me. Marquee Jingbei, Shen Qingzhou. Under Jing Emperor's rule, the Jing is seething with discontent. Yet half the realm relies on Marquee Jingbei holding it up. He can't fight wars or lead troops, just relies on brute strength. His indestructible Vajra body reached grandmaster peak. His lightning skill is world's best. Rumor has it, he lost a 4th-rank grandmaster using just lightning skill. Grandmasters are like living immortals. Practically can be called immortals. If healthy, living 300 to 500 years is easy. Showing Marquee Jingbei's terror, his skills unbeatable. Paired with top lightness skill, creating his unique style. Unless a grandmaster appears, he never hides. Charges first instead, invulnerable and energetic. While army holds enemy, he directly cuts down their commander. This tactic's disgusting, but everyone fears it. Many shudder at him. Though I can fight wars, everyone knows I'm mortal. Soldiers shake their heads. Pity, Prince Yunshua might take a huge fall this time. Marquee Jingbei, Shen Qingzhou stares at his head, a flicker of admiration in his eyes. This is Yunshua's gate. A soldier runs over. Reporting, my lord, it is Yunshua city. Shen Qingzhou sighs. This kid's done quite a job. What a pity, daring to rebel. And killing the Baiyue people. One city falls. Ali troops, 3,000 li. Slay some Baiyue to bury with him. 300,000 troops. He won't clash head on. He thinks I'm surely dead. Though he can't be 300,000. Attacking elsewhere works. At least let the world know. The Jing royalty. No matter how rotten, only royalty can kill them. Besides, without me guarding Yunshua city, Baiyue will want to plunder again. Let's teach them a lesson. Think about this. Although he looks down on me, I'm quite to his taste. The deputy general is a bit worried. Prince Yunshua is a formidable fighter. Probably not easy to deal with. Even if he leaves, he might have left a backup plan. Marquee Jingbei looked at his deputy and asked with a smile. Ah, that kid Liu Yanchuan is good. Just too green. Do you know his biggest flaw? What is it? The Yunshua Iron Cavalry is powerful. I admit I'm not as matched at that. But he only knows how to bully foot soldiers. If he fought me, I could cut his head off with one slash. He's a 4th-rank grandmaster. Not the strongest, but close. Back when he fought the Sword Immortal. If he could have one, even a single move, he'd be a great grandmaster by now. But the strongest in Yunshua city is only a 6th-rank grandmaster. What if he went to assassinate? Or directly cut my head off on the battlefield? So no matter how famous I am, he doesn't take me seriously. Without a high-level expert guarding it, it's ultimately a flower in the mirror, the moon in the water. Seems impregnable, but actually breaks at a poke. This is Marquee Jingbei's confidence. Besides, with the Jing Emperor backing him, he's not afraid of Yunshua city causing trouble, because he is my nemesis. As long as the great grandmasters don't show up, he is invincible. Marquee Jingbei suddenly smiled. City gate is opening. Let's take on their senses. But the next second, Marquee Jingbei and the soldiers behind him were all stunned. On the official road, I galloped on horseback. The Yunshua Iron Cavalry was still behind. The main army moved slowly, so I rushed to Yunshua city first. To be honest, my heart still aches thinking about it now. When I decided to return, the system gave me 2 choices. One was Sword Heart Clear, Sky Splitting Slash, Fleeting Stab, Dragon Coil, Star Shattering Strike, for immensely powerful moves. The other was Nether Ghost Claw, Bone Devouring 4 styles. Each style carries 9 Nether Cold Chi, an Yin Wind that can corrode metal and stone. Extremely sinister. Used with Nether Fire. It's like Vengeful Ghost demanding life, scattering souls, a night parade of 100 ghosts. In fact, up until now, I still don't know exactly how strong I am. No matter who I encounter, one Sky Splitting Slash can easily kill them. A great grandmaster might make me use the second style. Hoofies shattered the black stones of the official road. In my eyes, only the outline of Yunshua city's walls remained. Beacon smoke had already risen. Battle cries pierced my eardrums on the wind. Zhao's army was still 30 miles away. I rode ahead alone. True chi surging through my meridians like an angry river. When I reached Yunshua, a corner of the city wall had collapsed. Rubble mixed with broken bodies fell. Jiu leaned on her sword, half kneeling at the cradle. Her left arm was bent unnaturally, blood dripping down the grooves of her armor. Marquee Jingbei, Shen Qingzhou, hovered in the air at the breach, his white beard fluttering. A golden aura envelopes him like a bell. He gazes down at the panicked garrison troops below. His eyes are cold, viewing him as ants. The commoners haven't fled. They charge the breach with stones in their arms. The elderly carry door planks to block it. Women pick up broken arrows from the ground. Children bite their lips, hauling boiling oil to the wall's edge. No one cries out. Only heavy panting and frantic footsteps. The Jingbei army raises their scaling ladders. A dark tide of soldiers crashes against the city wall. Shen Qingzhou raises his hand, his aura coalescing into a giant long hand, aiming at the city's granary. He wants to destroy the foundation. I rein in my horse. The horse rears up, neighing. I push off in the saddle, legs propelling me. My body shoots forward like an arrow, leaping over the heads of Jingbei soldiers. With each step, shockwaves erupt, spraying blood. After 7 steps, I'm level with him. Sky Splitting Slash. The blade gleam arcs upward from below. A simple, straightforward slash. It vacuums the air for 10 meters around. Shen Qingzhou's eyes flicker. He flips and lands. The giant off-hand turns, slapping forth blade like. Boom. A shockwave lifts all the rubble on the battlement. We both retreat. I land back on the edge of the wall's breach. He drifts back 10 meters, his toes lightly touching a falling banner. He sizes me up, his gaze settling on the Yunshua blade in my hand. The blade drips blood. Blood from those I cut down on my way here. Your Highness is quite sentimental. A pity you watch them die today, because of you. Before his words fade, his figure vanishes. He reappears above the granary. His right arm presses down, golden aura solidifying into a massive seal. I don't pursue. Instead, I close my eyes. The system interface appears in the darkness. Choice 1. Have it satisfied. Use the 4th form of Sword of Clarity, Star Shatter Strike, for a fierce assault. Reward. Xuanwu Battle Formation. Choice 2. After King Confronting. Use Nether Claw, Seal, and Control Art. Reward. Loyalty Seal. I choose 2. When I open my eyes, the giant seal is less than 30 meters from the granary roof. I raise my hand. Nether Ghost Claw, first form, Bone Erosion. My 5 fingers claw the air. Black energy streams from my fingertips, coiling around the giant seal like 5 slender serpents. A sizzling sound. The golden aura seal rapidly blackens and crumbles. Shen Qingzhou lets out a soft huh and flickers again. This time, he lunges toward the city's command tower. Wei is on the top floor, beating the war drum. I don't stop him. The instant he's about to touch the tower, I roar. Ghost Claw, second form, Soul Power. My left hand presses the air for distance. The air around Shen Qingzhou suddenly congeals. Countless black tendrils emerge from the shadows, entangling his limbs. He snorts coldly, activating his indestructible Vajra body to its limit. His skin takes on a metallic sheen. The black tendrils scatter upon contact, but are endless. His speed slows for a moment. Using a chance to step forward, the Yunshua blade sweeping horizontally. The blade has reached him, but his hand has already locked on the back of the neck. Shen Qingzhou whirls around, palms clapping together to catch the blade. Empty-handed, I catch the white blade. Your Highness's sword is sharp, it can't break my defense. He grins. I release the sword. My hand, form claw, thrusting straight for his heart. Netherworld Ghost Claw, third form. Night parade of 100 demons. The claw's wind howls like 10,000 ghosts wailing. His expression finally changes. His protective aura spins wildly, forming a golden vortex. The ghost claw pierces the vortex, emitting a piercing metallic screech. The vortex suddenly stalls. Chen Qingzhou retreats violently. His left chest armor shattered. 5 black marks are branded deep into his skin. He looks down at the wound. Black energy is spreading along his blood vessels. What kind of martial art is this? His voice carries a trace of shock and anger. I don't answer. My figure, like a ghost, closes in. Ghost claw, 4th form, soul dispersion. Claw shadows fill the sky, covering all his escape routes. Each claw carries the cold energy of the netherworld. The city wall bricks freeze and crack upon contact. Chen Qingzhou roars madly. His entire body's aura boils as if burning. Golden flames disperse some of the black energy. He finds a weak point in the claw shadows, taking a hit on his shoulder. Using the force, he soars the sky to escape the battlefield. I won't leave. Stepping on the wall's protrusions, I give chase. The two of us leap into midair, one after the other. He turns and flings 3 golden darts, their bodies covered in runes. In flight, they transform into 3 golden snakes, lunging up. I open my mouth and spew a jet of pitch black flame, nether flame. The golden snakes melt upon meeting the fire, dripping golden liquid. Jinbei army soldiers below are splashed. They instantly scream and dissolve into pus and blood. Chen Qingzhou's people's contract. He pours out his blood and sprays on his palm. The blood mist condenses into a crimson rune. Suppress. The rune enlarges like a mountain, pressing down on me. The contained power of the Grandmaster's essence blood causes space itself to warp slightly. My hands form a seal. Netherworld ghost claw, final form. 9 nether yellow springs. A rift tears open in the void behind me. Surging black energy pours out. It forms a giant claw that collides with the blood rune. A silent shockwave expands. Combatants on the city wall are sent flying in mass. The blood rune shatters. The black claw also fades. Chen Qingzhou's face turns pale. Using the recoil, he flies back again, already reaching the open fields outside the city. He's trying to flee. I land and give chase. My true energy explodes underfoot, creating craters. Speed breaks the sound barrier. A sonic boom cloud trails behind like a white line. 10 breaths later, I've closed within 3 zhang behind him. The sun looks back, a ruthless glint flashing in his eyes. He pulls a crimson pill from his robe and swallows it. Blood-burning pill. After taking it, his health vision surges briefly, but afterward, his realm will fall and his vitality will be severely damaged. His aura climbs step by step. In the blink of an eye, it breaks through the 4th grade limit, stopping at the peak of 4th grade. His skin cracks, oozing beads of blood. He seems oblivious. His Highness refuses to submit. This marquee will clear the house for his majesty. His voice becomes hoarse and low. He stops fleeing and turns to pounce. His speed is twice as fast as before. 9 after images remain in the air, each containing real force. 9 shadows merge, fist force like a meteor crashing down. I stand firm. The system prompt rings in my mind. Choice activated. Mark of loyalty issued. Method of use. Pierce the target's labella with a ghost claw. Inject the mark. Success rate depends on the target's soul strength. Current success rate, 37%. I watch intently as the fist approaches. Only when the fist wind stirs my bangs do I raise my hand. Not to block, but to form a sword with my fingers. Sword, mirror, first form, startling swan thrust. A glint of gold light flashes my fingertip. Striking later, the right first, it pierces the weak point at the center of the fist force. The fist force shatters. My fingers momentum undiminished, striking his ego active point. The meridians in his entire arm are instantly sealed. True chi reverses flow. He grunts, his other hand transforming into a claw aimed at my dantian. Turn sideways. I ghost claw, swift as lightning, grips the ground his head. Netherworld ghost energy pours in madly. His body trembles violently. Gold and black alternate in his eyes. His soul resists fiercely. The mark of loyalty coalesces in my palm. As a result, it slowly presses toward the sea of consciousness. He roars, black blood seeping from 7 orifices. Break! He burns his vital essence to break the ghost energy's restraint, momentarily gaining a sliver of freedom. His right leg sweeps like a whip toward my side. I take the hit, a cracking sound from my ribs. The taste of blood rises in my mouth. The mark of my hand has touched the outer wall of his sea of consciousness. 1 inch left. At that moment, a sharp shriek comes from the sky. A golden-winged carrier pigeon dives down. It pierces through the energy field of our battle, landing on a broken spear nearby. A bright yellow scroll is tied to its leg. An imperial decree. A eunuch's shrill voice emanates from the scroll. Transmitted secret art infused with true chi. The imperial decree has arrived. Mandate heaven. The emperor decrees. If the Yanchuan surrenders, past wrongs be forgiven. He shall be in effect as the prince of the northern frontier and wed the princess Zhangji. So is the decree. The voice echoes across the battlefield. The sounds of slaughter have unknowingly quieted. Soldiers on both sides are stunned. Chen Qingzhou is also dumbfounded. He clearly had no knowledge of this decree. His resistance slackens for an instant. I seize the moment, pressing the mark hard, thrusting it into his sea of consciousness. His body stiffens. Black rapidly spreads in his eyes, covering the gold. 3 breaths later, he stops trembling and slowly kneels. One knee touches the earth, head bowed low. Your servant, Chen Qingzhou, pledges loyalty to your highness. His voice is steady, devoid of its former arrogance. I withdraw my hand, wipe the blood from my mouth, and look toward the imperial decree. The decree unfurls without wind. Golden characters glaring in the sunlight. I raise my hand. Netherworld flame sweeps past. The bright yellow scroll turns to ash. Amidst the drifting ashes, I speak, my voice carrying across the field. I'm here father to even 300,000 Baiyue troops. This prince is a frontier. This prince is not funded. The Jinbei army soldiers erupt in uproar. Their commander surrenders. The imperial decree is burnt. Their hands gripping, swords begin to tremble. Chen Qingzhou rises, turns to his own army, voice infused with true chi. Orders. All Jinbei army troops, lay down your arms. Surrender. The deputy general, eyes red, roars. Marquee, you cannot. His Majesty. Before the words even finished, Chen Qingzhou appeared before him, with one palm pressed to his chest. The lieutenant was sent flying, crashing through over 10 men before falling unconscious. Chen Qingzhou scanned the area. Who else objects? No one answered. The clatter of weapons hitting the ground rang out, spreading like a tide from near to far. 8,000 Jinbei army surrendered. I turned and walked after the wall. Xiaoyu had already been held down, her severed arm roughly set. She looked at me, trying to grin, but wincing in pain. Your Highness, I knew you'd make it in time. I nodded, looking towards the city's commoners. They stared blankly at the kneeling enemy army outside the walls, then back at me. Someone started to cry. Then came the sound of wailing. Fear and despair, suppressed for too long, and finally released. I turned and ordered Chen Qingzhou, reorganize the army. Treat the wounded. Take stock of provisions. As you command, Your Highness. The Emperor has more than just me, a Grandmaster, at his disposal. Ancestors from the Imperial Forbidden Grounds may soon emerge. I lifted my gaze towards the direction of the great Jin capital. The system prompt abruptly sounded. Grandmaster level threat detected. Hidden choice triggered. 1. Summon the remnant soul of ancestor MO in early. Cost 10 years lifespan. 2. Set national force scientist. Establish a nation and claim yourself her. Reward. 1 land immortal experience card. I fell silent for a moment. I choose 2. Task issued. Establish a nation within 1 month. Gain territory and the worship of subjects to sign in and claim the reward. I withdrew my gaze, my mind already decided. But there were more pressing matters at hand. Dust clouds rose again in the distance beyond the city. Zhao Hu arrived, leading the Yunua Iron Cavalry and the Golden Flame Cavalry. Seeing the kneeling surrendered army, then seeing me standing on the wall. Zhao dismounted and rushed over. This general has arrived late. Is your highness injured? I shook my head, looking at Chen Qingzhou. He was methodically issuing reorganization orders. Under his command, the surrendered troops retreated in batches to set up camp. There was no unrest. The loyalty seal was indeed effective. Though for how long, I did not know. I took a deep breath, suppressing the sharp pain in my ribs. This battle is over for now, but a greater storm is brewing. Empress Changji's spies, 100 years Emperor's revenge, the Jin Emperor's backup plans, and the ancestors in the Imperial Forbidden Grounds. I clenched my fist. The black aura of the nether fire lingering in my palm slowly dissipated. I turned and walked towards the wall steps. Each step sent a stabbing pain from my broken ribs. Though my expression remained unchanged. As I descended, the people spontaneously cleared path. They knelt on both sides, not daring to look up, though some secretly wiped away tears. I walked down the long street, bloody footprints leaving marks on the blue stone. Zhao followed half a step behind, reporting in a low voice. The Golden Flame Cavalry, 300 dead, over 1,000 wounded. The Yunua Iron Cavalry suffered heavy losses, having faced the main force of the Jinbei army head-on during the city's defense. Our army had slain over 10,000, captured more than 50,000, and seized countless lives by us. I kept walking and returned to the temporary command post. The medic was already waiting to set my bone and apply medicine. The black ointment felt cold and contained faint spiritual energy. It's a unique wound medicine from Yunua, gathered from the northern snow mountains. I closed my eyes to meditate. Netherworld true chi circulated within, slowly healing my injuries. But the broken ribs need at least 3 days to begin healing. I must not use true chi during that time, or bone fragments could pierce my organs. Even a grandmaster couldn't save me then. But I don't have 3 days. Zhou stood outside the door. He had changed out his damaged armor, wearing ordinary officer's attire. The fine black lines in his eyes flickered faintly. That was a visible mark of the loyalty seal. Your Highness, the reorganization is complete. The surrendered troops have been divided into 4 camps. My old subordinates and the mid-level commanders have all been planted with the minor seal. He paused. The minor seal's effect lasts only 3 months. It needs reinforcement after that. I opened my eyes and looked at him. When will the imperial clan's ancestor emerge? Zhou pondered. By convention, the Grandmaster's seclusion lasts from 10 years to a full cycle of 60. But the Jing Emperor holds a blood jade token that can awaken the ancestor. The cost is the sacrifice of 1,000 young boys and girls. If he's desperate, the ancestor could emerge in as little as 3 days. I nodded. 3 days will be enough. Hurried footsteps sounded outside. She was argent, her arm whistling, pale-faced but excited. Your Highness, scouts report. The Baiyue Emperor has mobilized 500,000 troops and other court. North south in 3 columns. Sent forth 200,000 heads straight for you. The latter columns have 150,000. They aim to flank Dai's heartland and the Changji border. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. The fierce emperor is clever, trying to profit from our chaos. Well, will the Changji Empress let him have his way? Before I finished, another scout knelt to report. Black armor troops have appeared on the Changji border. Numbers unknown. They're led by the Changji sword puppets. Xinzhou's expression changed. Sword puppets. They're the Changji Empress's personal guard. Forged from death warriors. They feel no pain, no fear. Each one possesses 6th rank strength. And they sell forming situations to trap and kill grandmasters. The Changji Empress intends to deal with both Baiyue and us simultaneously. I stood up abruptly and strode to the map. Yunua City sits right in the center of this triangle. The Baiyue Central Army will arrive in exactly 3 days. If the Changji sword puppets force march, they could beat our walls in 2. Once the Imperial ancestor emerges, a Grandmaster flying through the air could be here in a day. A 3-sided encirclement would be a death trap. Zhao clenched his fist. Your Highness, let's retreat to the deepest part of the north for now. Avoid their main force. We can use the terrain to our advantage. I shook my head firmly. We cannot retreat. Yunua City is our foundation. If we retreat, the people's support will vanish instantly. Besides, I quickly scanned the system interface. The national destiny checking task requires founding a nation and declaring myself emperor. I also need territory and subjects to pay homage. We abandon the city and flee. Or we get territory. Or we get subjects. After a long moment of thought, I suddenly gave the order. Xinzhou, take the 30,000 surrendered soldiers, disguise them as remnants of the Jinbei army, deliberately retreat south. Spread rumors along the way. Say Yunua City has been captured, and I have fled, severely wounded. Or the Imperial clan's ancestor change course and pursue your forces with full strength. His eyes flickered rapidly. I obey. Your Highness is using me as bait. I nodded heavily. You bear my netherworld mark. The ancestor will surely sense it. He will think you are me. Zhao. You, take the Golden Fire Cavalry and head north quietly. Ambush the Baiyue army's left flank. No need to annihilate them completely. Just hold them off for 5 days. Yunua, you're responsible for defending the city. Quickly conscript everyone who can fight. Evacuate all elderly, weak women and children to the underground tunnels. I secretly built those tunnels 10 years ago. They can hold the entire city's population and store 3 months of provisions. Everyone acknowledged the orders and left. The commander's mansion suddenly felt empty. I sat cross-legged and swallowed a healing pill. The medicinal power rapidly dissolved, forcibly circulating my chi to accelerate healing. Excruciating pain surged like a tide. I gritted my teeth hard, but my broken ribs were visibly healing at a rapid pace. This is the life rebirth elixir, a reward from the system before. Outside the window, the sky gradually darkened. The city began to bustle. The citizens silently packed their belongings, lining up to enter the tunnels. They did not utter a single complaint, only occasionally glancing towards the commander's mansion, their eyes filled with deep reverence, as if looking at a statue of a god in a temple. By midnight, Xinzhou led the army out of the city, heading south. Zhao's cavalry also departed under the cover of night. Yunua stood on the city wall, directing everyone in setting up defenses. Logs, stones, fire oil, and arrows filled the battlements. I left the commander's mansion and leaped onto the highest watchtower. Sitting cross-legged, I began circulating the netherworld scripture. Since I am foundation, I need a cultivation powerful enough to anchor its destiny. The netherworld scripture has 9 layers in total. I have only reached the 6th layer so far, corresponding to the peak Grandmaster realm. If I can break through to the 7th layer, I will enter the great Grandmaster realm. The 7th layer requires a place of extreme heat, or a million resentful souls for tempering. Beneath Yunua City, there happens to be an ancient battlefield. Back then, Baiyue and Dai fought a war here. Over 1 million died, and their resentment hasn't faded in 1,000 years. I closed my eyes, letting my divine sense sink into the earth. Passing through thick layers of soil, I touched that sea of malice. Bone-chilling cold, exceptionally violent, utterly mad. Countless remnant souls roared wildly. I activated the netherworld true sutra. I began absorbing this malice. As soon as it entered my body, my meridians felt pierced by icing needles. The netherworld true chi quickly enveloped and transformed it into pure energy. The bottleneck of the 7th layer began to loosen slowly. The night passed quickly. As the morning sun rose, I snapped my eyes open. A flash of black light flickered in my pupils, then vanished. My cultivation hadn't broken through, but I was already at the threshold, needing only a catalyst. The city was empty. The common folk all in the secret tunnels. Only 20,000 defenders remained, a mix of wounded and veteran soldiers. Xiaoyu hurried over to report. Your Highness, the Changji sword puppet vanguard is 100 li away. About 5,000 of them. I nodded and descended the watchtower, striding toward the city gate. The gate was wide open. I stood alone outside, a single blade in hand, silent. The morning wind whipped my robes. On the distant horizon, a few black dots appeared first, then became a continuous black line. That was the sword puppets. They moved without sound, their steps unnaturally uniform. The 5,000 halted 3 li from the city. In the lead puppet's eye sockets danced eerie green flames. It suddenly spoke, its voice a rasp like grinding stones. Liu Yanchuan, The Empress decrees, surrender, or die. I didn't answer, just slowly drew my blade. As Yunua blade left its sheath, the steel reflected the dawn with a faint bloody hue. The sword puppet leader raised his hand. 5,000 puppets drew their swords in unison. The sound of steel gathered into a sharp shriek that shot straight into the sky. Then the sword formation activated. The 5,000 puppets shifted, transforming into a massive sword wheel rolling toward me. Where the wheel passed, deep furrows were plowed into the ground. I charged forward, split in the vault. A ribbon of blade light slashed toward the wheel center, but the wheel rotated, shattering the blade light. I frowned, thinking, sword puppets are indeed tough, so I held nothing back. Unleashing the netherworld Ghost Claw, my form turned into black smoke, drilling into the sword wheel. Ghost Claw strikes followed one after another, each one crushing a puppet's skull. But the puppets felt no pain. After falling, black chi actually rose from their corpses, all converging into the sword wheel. The wheel's power grew stronger. They were absorbing their fallen comrades' death chi. Realizing this, I changed tactics instantly. I stopped killing, instead using Ghost Claw to shatter their joints, rendering them immobile. But 5,000 was too many. Even fast, I needed time. And in the distance, dust rose again. The vanguard of the Baiyue Central Army suddenly appeared. The Blazing Emperor had come personally, leading his troops. He sat firmly on a giant elephant, standing over 10 feet tall. Bare-chested, his body was covered in blood-red totems. He spotted the sword wheel from afar, and suddenly burst into maniacal laughter. A trifling thing like Changji dares block my path. The giant elephant immediately charged, running straight into the sword wheel. The sword puppet leader hastily turned the wheel, diverting half to face the Flame Emperor. The other half continued to besiege me, easing my pressure slightly. I seized the chance to break into the wheel's core. My claw clamped down hard on the sword puppet leader's skull. Nether fire poured into his eye sockets, the green flames flickering violently. Then they suddenly extinguished, and the leader collapsed with a thud. The remaining wheel instantly fell into chaos. I seized the moment to slash in all directions. Blade energy swept out, annihilating hundreds of sword puppets. But over there, the Flame Emperor's elephant had already trampled hundreds. The Flame Emperor leaped down from the elephant's back, a giant axe in hand. With one swing, he cleaved the sword wheel apart, its power unmatched. He glared at me viciously, baring his teeth. King Yunua, we meet again. Last time, you slaughtered 10 of my cities. Today, I'll slaughter 100 of yours. I sheathed my blade and looked at him coldly. I killed your son. I killed your royal brother. Today, you die too. The Flame Emperor roared in fury. He raised a giant axe high and swung, unleashing a crimson blade of energy. The energy arched like a rainbow. Wherever it passed, the ground split into a 30-meter chasm. I dared not block it head-on. Using my movement technique, I swiftly dodged. The energy struck the city wall. The wall trembled violently, a massive crack appearing. The Flame Emperor's strength was actually at the peak Grandmaster level 2, and with his innate divine strength, he was even tougher than Shunqingzhou. I took a deep breath and decided to use my trump card. System. Use the National Fortune check-in trial card. Though not officially a kingdom yet. With Yunua City's populace loyal, it should barely activate. System prompt. Detected territory, Yunua City with 200,000 subjects. Meets temporary check-in conditions. Using land deity trial card. Duration, 1 instance ticks time. Confirm use? Confirm immediately. The next moment, immense power poured into my body from the void. My broken ribs healed instantly. My cultivation began to soar. Peak Grandmaster. Early Great Grandmaster. Mid-late. All the way to the threshold of land deity. I clenched my fist, feeling I could shatter mountains with one punch. The Flame Emperor sensed something amiss. His face instantly changed. Retreat. He bellowed, but it was too late. I raised my hand and pressed down hard through the air. The air within 100 yards solidified. The Flame Emperor and his elephant were pinned firmly in place. I slowly walked up to him. Looking into his terrified eyes, I said softly, his blade is for the heroic souls who fell in Yunua's decade of war. The Yunua blade swept lightly. The Flame Emperor's head flew off, blood spurting like a fountain. The elephant let out a pain cry, knelt and died. The Baiyue vanguard army froze in shock, and completely broke, scattering and fleeing all around. I didn't chase after them. Instead, I turned to face the remaining sword puppets. Having lost their leader and witnessed the fiery emperor's death, the sword puppets began to retreat. I pointed my fingers like a sword. The fourth stance of Sword Heart's clarity, shattering Starbreak. A sword aura swept across the sky, passing over 5,000 sword puppets. All the puppets froze simultaneously, then turned to dust. A gust of wind blew, scattering them without a trace. With that done, my trial card's time was down to half an incense stick. I sent southward. Shunqingzhou's aura was rapidly approaching from 100 miles away, and behind him, a terrifying aura was in pursuit. The Royal Clan's ancestor had finally arrived. I stepped into the air, flying swiftly southward at an astonishing speed. Sonic booms erupted continuously behind me. 10 breaths later, I saw Shunqingzhou's 30,000 strong army in a disorganized rout, while a black-robed old man in the sky hovered in the air, reaching out to grab Shunqingzhou. The old man's face was withered, but his eyes flashed like lightning. His aura stirred celestial phenomena. Dark clouds gathered rapidly. Faint lightning appeared, a Grandmaster. I immediately accelerated, blocking his path just as the old man was about to seize Shunqingzhou. The old man abruptly withdrew his hand, scrutinizing me carefully, surprise in his eyes. A land deity? No, a temporary boost. What an interesting junior. I'm the great Jing royal clan's ancestor. My name is Liu Yanchuan. The old man narrowed his eyes. So it's you, the traitorous son Jing mentioned. I shook my head. He is no longer my father. Not since he colluded with the enemy and betrayed the nation. He is not. The old man fell silent for a moment. The royal family's dignity cannot be trampled. Today you must die. Sky thunder descended, transforming into a lightning dragon at lunch. I swung my blade, sending a blade aura toward the dragon, which instantly disintegrated. But more thunderbolts followed in rapid succession. The old man practiced thunder magic, capable of summoning celestial attacks. Although I temporarily possessed land deity strength, time was limited. I had to end this quickly. I charged at the old man, unleashing netherworld ghost claw at full power. Claw shadows clashed with thunder. Explosions echoed incessantly. Mountains below shattered. Rivers changed course. Shunqingzhou led his army far away, glancing back to sea. The sky filled with lightning and dark energy. As if the apocalypse had come, the old man was immensely powerful, top tier even among grandmasters. I had him temporarily suppressed, but killing him was proving difficult, and my trial card's time was down to its final 10 breaths. Gritting my teeth, I decided to risk it, taking a direct thunder strike from the old man. My chest was pierced, but I seized the chance to close in, my claw gripping his shoulder tightly, pouring netherworld flame into him. The old man screamed in agony, his thunder magic instantly backfiring. Thunder and netherworld flame raged violently within him, shattering his meridians. With my other hand, I drove my blade into his dantian, completely crushing his golden core. His aura plummeted drastically, falling from grandmaster to master, then to innate realm, and finally to that of an ordinary mortal. I yanked my blade out. He crashed heavily to the ground, his face filled with despair. You destroyed my century of cultivation. I landed slowly. I stood proudly before him. I won't kill you. Go back and tell the Jing Emperor to abdicate within 3 days. Otherwise, I'll go to the capital myself and take his head. The old man trembled as he got up. He glared at me resentfully before turning and staggering away. I watched his retreating figure. The trial card's time was up. My power receded like a tide. Intense weakness washed over me. I fell heavily to one knee, coughing up a mouthful of black blood. A large, charred, and bloody wound from the lightning strike marred my chest. But I was still alive. Shen Qingzhou hurried back. He quickly helped me up. Your Highness. I waved my hand. I'm fine. Back to the city. 3 days later, news spread across the Seven Kingdoms. The Baiyue Emperor was dead. His 500,000 troops were completely routed. The Chinese offices were all destroyed. The royal clan's patriarch had his cultivation crippled. Emperor Jing fainted upon hearing this. Upon waking, he immediately abdicated, passing the throne to the third prince. The third prince died suddenly that night. The dying royal family descended into internal strife. Princes fought for the throne. I declared myself emperor in Yunua City. The nation was named Yunua, the era named Jinbei. On coronation day, the system suddenly notified me. National fortune check-in successful. I gained permanent earthly immortal cultivation, but I didn't accept it immediately. Instead, I first rewarded my generals. Zhao was appointed Grand General of the nation. Xiu became Minister of War. Shen Qingzhou was made commander of the Imperial Guard. The MO organization became the Shadow Guard, directly under the Emperor. Yunua City was expanded into the capital. The citizens all emerged from the tunnels. Celebration lasted for 3 whole days. Seven Kingdoms quickly sent envoys with congratulations. Even the Changji Empress came. She specially brought a gift, an exquisite jade pendant. A strand of divine consciousness was hidden within it. Invited me to meet at Qingzhou Peak in 3 months. I crushed the pendant on the spot, offering no reply. For now, I focused on consolidating internal affairs, letting the people live in peace. West stragglers were still looting in the northern borderlands. I sent Zhao to with troops to clear them out. Dying was in chaos. Various princes sought aid. I ignored them all, only sending a message. Those who submit will live. Those who resist will die. 3 months later, Yunshua's territory expanded to 3 provinces. The people all longed for stability. I secluded myself in the palace to absorb the earthly immortal cultivation. The seclusion lasted 10 whole days. When I emerged, I was a true earthly immortal. My divine sense could expand 1,000 miles. A single thought, myriad laws followed. If I didn't announce it, continuing to handle affairs as usual. I just occasionally glanced towards Changji. The appointment at Qingzhou Peak was crushed. That morning, I left the palace alone. The heavens in peak lies at the border of 7 kingdoms, its summit piercing the clouds. The peak's snow never melts. I flew there. Empress Changji was already waiting for me. She sat in an ice pavilion, brewing tea with elegant hands, her beauty peerless. Her aura was transcendent, yet her eyes held an ancient chill. I landed outside the pavilion. She looked up, smiling faintly. Emperor Yunshua, you are true to your word. I entered in Saturday. What is this about? She poured a cup of tea and slid it to me. The aroma was crisp. Unfazed, she sipped her own, then said, I want to join forces with you to unify the 7 kingdoms. I shook my head immediately. Not interested. She set her cup down. Then do you know there are worlds beyond these 7 kingdoms? I looked up. She continued. A land immortal is the pinnacle in this realm, but in the upper realm is merely the starting point. Every century, upper realm sects come here to select disciples. This year is that century's mark. I wish to go to the upper realm, but I need this realm's fortune to aid me. You can help. I will seize the fortune of the 7 kingdoms, and then take you with me to the upper realm. I fell silent. The upper realm, it was certainly appealing, but I asked, what's the price? The price is sacrificing half the living beings of this realm to open the gate to heaven. She said it calmly, as if stating a trivial matter. I stood up. She raised an eyebrow. You don't desire immortality? Greater power. I walked toward the exit. I do. But I glanced back at her. My immortality shouldn't be paved with others' bones. She scoffed. Such foolish mercy. You'll regret this. I didn't reply, taking flight and leaving. Back in Yunshua, I immediately ordered border defenses strengthened. I also sent warnings to the other 6 kingdoms about Changji's ambition, but they didn't believe me, suspecting I sought to sow discord instead. Only the Emperor of Dying secretly wrote, "Will inform alliance." 3 months later, Empress Changji launched her war. A 1,000,000-strong army attacked the 6 kingdoms simultaneously, revealing her true power. She was actually at the peak of land immortal realm, commanding ancient formations. The 6 kingdoms swiftly crumbled. Within half a year, 5 were destroyed. Only Yunshua and Dying remained. Dying's new emperor came personally to Yunshua, pleading for aid. I agreed. Our armies merged. Changji incited battle and murder. That day, the river ran red. Corpses floating for 100 miles. Emperor Changji actually laid a grand blood sacrifice formation, intending to sacrifice millions on the spot to forcibly open the gate to heaven. I immediately led the Moon Shadow Guard to assault formations war. A fierce battle with Empress Changji ensued. Her power was formidable, but I had the system's assistance. In the end, flying 9 later netherworld troops, combined with my land and immortal cultivation, I finally suppressed her beneath the formation's core. Using the Yunshua blade as the formation's heart, I sealed her for a full century. The Changji army instantly collapsed. The remaining survivors from the 4 fallen kingdoms all submitted to Yunshua. 7 kingdoms are finally unified. I changed the dynasty's name to Yunshua, declaring myself Yunshua Heavenly Emperor. I established Yunshua City as the capital. I immediately enacted new laws, abolished slavery, and reduced taxes and corvée labor. I established martial arts academies and made cultivation widespread. 10 years later, the Yunshua dynasty was at its peak, prosperous and strong. This was not the form of ceremony. While reporting to heaven and earth, the system suddenly gave its final prompt. Mission accomplished. Proceed to the upper realm. I looked back at the civil and military officials and the common people behind me. I gently shook my head and chose to stay. The system vanished directly, but my cultivation had already reached the peak of the earth and mortal realm. My lifespan was a full 1,000 years. That was already enough. Another 10 years passed. The new emperor of Dying abdicated, and the Yunshua dynasty achieved complete unification. I established the crown prince and passed the throne to him. Then I retired to seclusion within the house. Occasionally, I would recall the words on the city wall when I first arrived in this world. Rebel. Now, the world has long been at peace, but my original aspiration never changed. Yunshua will always be my Yunshua, the people's Yunshua. Suddenly, the sound of children playing came from outside the hall. It was the crown prince's son, my grandson. I slowly walked out of the palace. Warm sunlight bathed the courtyard. The distant city wall looked particularly majestic. The streets were bustling with people. A scene of peace and harmony. I smiled with contentment. Turning around, I walked back into the hall. A history scroll lay open on the table. The first line was clearly written. Start. Imperial Edict of Death. Sign in. Land immortal.